Whoopee.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
You're in violation of secure communication procedures, Commodore.
So we just went ahead and fixed the glitch.
There is no America. There is no democracy.
Our fifth objective, a new world order.
There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West.
Right-wing conspiracy.
What do you call it when the assassins accuse the assassin?
A new world order.
Thank you for plugging in to the Stones Unturned podcast.
Well, just a second there, Professor. We fixed the glitch.
I'm your host, Professor Thomas Henry Horan.
He reads everything.
Hello there, you lucky devils. You better bet your bippies he reads everything and then he shows it to you. So the first episode about Paul Avery is now done and ready to watch as soon as I finish this pregame, which I may not hang around too long. It's past my bedtime. I'm exhausted. I am just flat out exhausted. But it's ready to go. As soon as I finish this pregame live stream, you'll be able to see it. It's really good. Paul Avery turns out to be maybe the single most important person in this whole thing. Because remember, he's not a big player in Zodiac, supposedly, but of course he wrote the book about Patty Hearst. So, which we will be coming up to that. It's no coincidence he wrote the first disinfo prop book about Patty Hearst and the Symbionese Liberation Army. No coincidence whatsoever. Remember, he was in on the frame up of Arthur Lee Allen, and he's the one who cooked up this phony baloney connection between Sherry Joe Bates and Zodiac because of this desktop poem, which is nonsense. I will show you. It is fake, and I will show you what I mean. But that'll be later. If you heard the sound of a football team plopping into the tank, that was the New York Jests. 31-6. 31-6. Their season is over. Because they're not going to beat the Bills. They have to play the Dolphins twice. There's 3 games. There's 7, and they have to win every single game from now on just to smell the playoffs. If they don't finish 10-7, forget it. And here's what they're going to do. They'll probably finish 9-8. They'll lose some tiebreaker to get into the wild card round, and then they'll get a garbage draft pick. If they tank now, they could be easily top 5 draft pick and get a quarterback. Although, are there any quarterbacks in the draft this year? Two, 025 draft quarterbacks. Shadur Sanders? Quarterback? Is he any good? Cam Ward number 1 and they should draft Shadur Sanders. They really should draft Shadur Sanders. He's not this kid of Deion Sanders. Is he good? Shadur Sanders? He plays for his dad. Don't they suck? Yeah. His first game for Colorado Buffaloes, threw for 510 yards and 4 touchdowns over 17th ranked TCU. Okay. Well, maybe they don't suck. He did transfer from the Jackson State Tigers, though, right? Yeah, they could draft Shedeur Sanders. Maybe. Trade up. Somebody trade their number 2 draft pick for Aaron Rodgers. There's still a lot of Tiger left in that tank. It's time to tank. You got to think about your last game, Aaron, because you don't want to go out like that. You don't want to go out like this. You don't, believe me. Take it from a man who does not know when to quit. You've got to know when to quit. But, you know, the best laid plans, as the late, great Kamala Harris once said, the best laid plans. What a plan. What a plan she had. So are you guys ready for the premium episode? I think it's ready to go on the other website too. I am exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted. The weather wore me out this week mentally. Scheduled. There it is. Okay, let me pull that up. Just to be ready. Oh, people are showing up. I'll try to stay awake. You ever feel like you just cracked the biggest conspiracy theory of all time and you're a little bit tired? But there's a possibility the next episode will be ready Wednesday. Then I'm going to slow down to once a week till Christmas is over, probably. Because Christmas is days till Christmas. $44 days, 6 weeks. 6 weeks from Tuesday. 7 weeks till New Year's. Because you guys, a lot of you new people still need to see those episodes about the phony kidnapping of the Lindbergh baby, because they have a direct bearing on what we're talking about Zodiac-wise. Oh, yeah, people are showing up tonight. Tonight when I'm exhausted. Here they are. Hi, Max. Hi, Sinclair. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, hello, everyone. Mwah. Where's my beer? To go get a shot. Maybe I'll go get it. Should I go get a shot? I'll go get a shot. I'll be right back. Let me play the theme again. And I'll be right back.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
You're in violation of secure communication procedures, Condor.
So we just went ahead and fixed the glitch.
There is no America. There is no democracy.
Our fifth objective, a new world order.
There are no nations. There are no monitors of it. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West.
Right-wing conspiracy.
What do you call it when the assassins accuse the assassin?
A new world order.
Thank you for plugging in to the Stones Unturned podcast.
Well, just a second there, Professor. We fixed the glitch.
I'm your host, Professor Thomas Henry Horan.
He reads everything.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
You're in violation of secure communication procedures, Condor.
So we just went ahead and fixed the glitch.
There is no America. There is no democracy.
Our fifth objective, a new world order.
There are no nations. There are no monitors of it. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no
Vast
West.
right-wing conspiracy.
What do you call it when the assassins accuse the assassin?
A new world order.
Thank you for plugging in to the Stones Unturned podcast.
Well, just a second there, Professor. We fixed the glitch.
I'm your host, Professor Thomas Henry Horan.
He reads everything.
You guys still there? Oh my God, was that big of a lag? Is it that big of a lag? Okay. I'm back. Is the lag back? Okay. I'm back. You guys can hear me, right? Okay. I couldn't find a clean snifter, so I got a little... Here's to many more. And you know what I'm talking about. Oh. TV is 1 second behind your phone. That's awesome. Hello, everybody. It is Sunday. People don't seem to go out as much anymore since COVID. Call me crazy. And a lot of people have. Look at all these people. Where are you when I have something to say? I'm so exhausted. I don't know what else to tell you. Look at the news. So the new premium episode is done. Members only. Get plugged in. Click the join button right now. If you're on an iPhone, you must be on Chrome and you must be looking at desktop site. There is a link to a video in the description of this video of how to do that on an iPhone. Once you get joined, the join button doesn't show up on Safari on an iPhone because Apple wants their cut. But they won't get it if you just use Chrome. Anyway. Have I got anything interesting on my Facebook feed tonight? Oh, I'm sick of talking about the election. Sick of it. Funny animal videos, but that's not what you logged in for. So if you're all... Look at all these people. Thank you, Medley. They hit the spot. Mwah. Here's the Medley. Sweetie, darling. Oh, so do I. So do I. I could talk more about upcoming episodes. Let's talk again about the documentaries you need to see on Netflix. And once again, I'm asking you for the craziest conspiracy theories you can find about Richard Ramirez, the so-called Night Stalker. There's a documentary and there's a really good website. Let me find that website again. Oh, Lord. It's called It has a very weird name. There's a book, but the website is great. I haven't read the book. I don't have time. But the website has a lot to get you going. Casting a lot of doubt on the whole Richard Ramirez did it all. Like, they just pinned a bunch of murders on him. It is called, does anybody remember? It was on last night's show. It is called, the website is called For a Cause, not Sacrificed for a Cause. Check my Google history. And don't you look at my Google history. I will look at my Google history. Let's go back to last night. Let's go back to yesterday. Expendable for a Cause. Let me get the link for you. Expendable for a Cause. I don't know, but I can tell you, look at this website. There's more than that. So a couple of things I found out about that case, the Night Stalker case, and a couple of victims is in tonight's premium episode. So, and there's a lot more. Once again, the more you know about the victim, the more you will know about the perpetrator. So, and plus there's all this serious doubt as to whether he actually killed all those people. For example, the famous Avia shoe print, when they arrested Ramirez, they never found the shoes. He had a convenient explanation for that. Diane Feinstein had a convenient explanation for that. But no shoes. No fingerprints from any murder scenes. None. Zero. You tell me how he did all the things he did wearing gloves. So there's that. And then there's a documentary about it on Netflix. Where's my list? My list. There we go. Let me put this over here so you can see it. My list. The Keepers. You must watch The Keepers. That one will make you, that one will enrage you. But Dr. Werner Spitz shows up in that one. This is about a ring of pedophiles who penetrated the Catholic, to coin a phrase, infiltrated the Catholic school system in Baltimore, Maryland in the 1970s, and a nun ends up murdered, and Dr. Werner Spitz comes in and saves the prime suspect from prosecution once again. Bad Surgeon, Love Under the Knife. I haven't watched that one yet, but let me tell you. Doctors, I assume it's about doctors murdering their wives on the operating table. Running with the Devil, I don't know. It's not an expose of McAfee. It's just Evil Genius. Watch that one. Watch that one for fun. I'm giving you no spoilers except this. That case involved every single law enforcement agency there is. And they pace it very well. This case is 10 times more bizarre than you think. Remember the pizza bomber? You ain't seen nothing yet. Watch Evil Genius. I've begun watching the Texas Killing Fields. That's getting more and more interesting as I watch it. Scout's Honor, I have not seen that one yet, about the Boy Scout pedophile scandal. Mike Pompeo Sr. was president of the Boy Scouts of America when it erupted in the 70s, and then Mike Pompeo Jr. was president of the Boy Scouts of America this last time it erupted. Trump announced Pompeo will not be defense secretary this time, as far as Trump knows. Fear City, New York versus the Mafia, I've seen that. There's some good episodes in there. It's good. Fear City is good. Waco, American Apocalypse, I don't think I've seen that one. We will be talking about Waco. There it is, Night Stalker, The Hunt for a Serial Killer. It's good, but there's a lot. Some of you have been watching this show long enough. Your bullshit meter should be working by now. Watch it. I've shown you how to watch these documentaries. Take a swing at this one. There were several bells that went off, so watch it and see if they go off for you, and then I'll show you later. Wild Wild Country. You must watch that documentary. That Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh cult up in Oregon. It's good. It's really good. It's well made. It's very well made. It's not a hatchet piece, but it's a good documentary. Murder Among the Mormons. Watch Murder Among the Mormons. I bring that up in tonight's episode. Watch it. Remember the Mormon Mad Bummer? Watch Murder Among the Mormons. Watch Murder Among the Mormons for sure. Wyatt Earp is okay. It's not bad. They mention, for the first time, the deep involvement, not only on the part of you know all about Armor Meatpacking, but on the part of, among others, J.P. Morgan and Baron Rothschild. Remember, it is not Rothschild. It is Rothschild, okay? But otherwise, it's not the be-all, end-all Wyatt Earp documentary. What's cool about Wyatt Earp is he's Don Quixote, who was Odysseus. When Odysseus is trying to get home, he ends up on the island of King Alkinoos. And he cons his way. He just passes as a drift. He just passes as a hobo. And he gets the princess. He plays on her sympathies, takes him home, and, And so he's invited to supper, and they've got the traveling bard, which is possibly Homer. He gets up, and he's singing these ballads, these epics about the Trojan War. And he gets around to a story about Odysseus. And Odysseus starts crying, and he stands up, and he says, I am that man. That's your first clue that Odysseus has been telling us the story all along, because the very first word of the Odyssey is andra. Andra moi enepemusa. Of that man in me sing, O Muse. But you find out in the scene, I am Andra, I am that man. What he actually said was, because Andra can either mean that man or this man. It's not ablative, dative. Concerning that man, right? Of that man in me sing, O Muse. Or did he say, of that man in me? Of that man in me sing, O Muse. That's your first clue. He's been telling you this story all along. And that's just one of the million cool things about the Odyssey. The point is, he's sitting there listening to somebody tell the story of him. And it's not a very flattering story. If you know Odysseus, he's the Joker. He's the bad guy. He's the bad guy. That scene in Inglourious Bastards, which was ripped off from many other movies, where the Nazi is questioning without torture or he's questioning that farmer because he knows that girl's probably living in the house. That's Odysseus. That's a scene from a play called The Trojan Women. Okay, what about Don Quixote? Well, the real-life Miguel Cervantes, by the time he was in the Last Crusade, it had become a Cold War. He's a Cold War spook. He goes across the channel to Algeria or whatever, and he's kind of on a secret mission, and he gets captured, and he spends 10 years in a Moorish prisoner in a prison. Well, then he's released. The war is over, and it's been a Cold War for a long time. All of a sudden, everybody just forgets there ever was a crusade, and it's back to business is business. And he can go back. I think he literally went back to the city where he was kept in that dungeon, and he went back as a tourist. Like, it was really bizarre. So he lived a long time. Miguel Cervantes lived a long time. He got to be an old man. And he's trying to tell his life story about this war and no one even cares anymore. And when he goes back there, the medieval world was still a young world. Nobody lived past 40, and he's this old man. He's a veteran of a war. It's kind of like today's Cold War. You talk to a millennial about the Cold War, you might as well be talking about the Trojan War or the Crusades. It was ancient history. And they just think he's this far out old man telling these war stories about this war that they don't even talk, and it really, people just quit talking about it. They just went back to normal. They just went back to business as usual. So what does he do? He comes across a source. He comes across a book about it written by an Arab chronicler. And there's a chapter in there about Miguel Cervantes. And he's like, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. And he gets the idea to write his own book. But because it's all the world that he went through that war and 10 years as a prisoner, that world doesn't even exist anymore. It's like a crazy dream that never happened. And he ends up writing this book. And in the book, Don Quixote finds a book by an Arab chronicler about him. And okay, watch. Well, Wyatt Earp. Here's the thing. That's the thing about Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp lived long enough. Wyatt Earp lived until 1932 or something. There's a picture of him in his apartment in the little retirement home, a little boarding house. He has a radio, an electric fan, and pen and paper. And he goes to the movies on Saturdays and he watches these Hollywood Westerns that are coming out and they're so popular. And some of them are about him and he's writing to these producers. I am Wyatt Earp. Why didn't you ask me what happened? Let me tell you what really happened. So he becomes this classic character. So watch that one. The Devil Next Door is good. If you get a chance, watch The Devil Next Door, about a paper-clipped Nazi collaborator, basically. A new documentary about Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper. Pretty good. I think it's just a flat-out remake, shot-for-shot remake of the one from 20 years ago. Watch it. It's very good. No, it's good. Watch it. Watch it. There's one about Ghislaine Maxwell I have not watched yet. American Conspiracy, The Octopus Murders. Watch it. The Danny Casolaro thing. We're coming the same blob, but we're coming at it from the opposite direction, and there it is. Except this time we're sneaking up behind it. We've already got it surrounded. It's already in the net. There is no escape. A documentary about Jimmy Savile. It's pretty good. The one about Bob Ross so far has been pretty good. There's a good documentary about Bob Ross. It's good. Ordinary Men. That's a quiet documentary about the very first Einsatzgruppe. It wasn't even a group, a police battalion operating in Poland at the very beginning. Okay, watch those and absolutely watch The Confession Killer. Probably the best true crime documentary ever made. Watch The Confession Killer. No spoilers. Hi, Ivana. Richard Ramirez doesn't strike me as a crafty guy. Well, that's very interesting. Get plugged in to the members only. When you can binge watch later, but when you get a chance, get plugged in. The whole thing stinks to high heaven. But rule number one, there is no such thing as a random victim or a random murder. There is no such thing. You have two completely different sets of victims. You have young women. Well, you have three. You have young women, you have children, little girls, mostly little girls, and then you have people in their 60s. One of whom he'd been there before. So that's not a random victim right there. That's not a random victim. No random victims. Then he supposedly has this older cousin who he sometimes called uncle, who supposedly groomed him to be a serial killer, supposedly committed all these atrocities in Vietnam and is teaching Richard all this stuff. Well, the truth about him turns out to be even more interesting than that. Rule number 2. Well, that's not cold case investigation. Cold case investigation, homicide investigation, the victim will tell you who the murderer is. The more you know about the victims, the more you will know about the perpetrator. Same thing in the Ramirez case. Same thing in Zodiac. Same thing in Son of Sam. Same thing in Manson. Now, apart from that, what's the Stones Unturned podcast? What are we learning? You don't need a crazy conspiracy theory. You don't need Green Beret uncles to explain some deep, dark, hidden secret. You need that crap to cover up for something obvious lying right on the surface and wait till you see it. Get plugged in. William Avery Rockefeller? That you know what, channel? I could have swore there was, I don't know. Let me look into that. Because the connection to the Quails, a distant connection to the Quails. See, this is what there's a American businessman and con artist, alias of Dr. William Livingston. Worked as a lumberman, then a traveling salesman, botanic physician, and sold elixirs. So you guys can see this. Born in Ankrum, New York, eldest son of businessman farmer Godfrey Lewis Rockefeller. Trace our patrilineal line to Goddard Rockefeller? Lucy Avery was born to Miles Avery, New England Yankees of mostly English descent, being a descendant of James Avery. I'll bet there is. Because Avery was his stepfather. King Philip's War. From Cornwall. Huh. What do you know about that? In Auburn, New York, he was indicted for sexual assault which had occurred at gunpoint. Town of Moravia and the county of Cayuga. You're joking. Yeah, there's a high probability there's a relationship going back a couple generations. There's a pumpkin sticker. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to front you a pumpkin sticker channel for that one. This would be interesting. Died in Freeport, Illinois. He died in Freeport, Illinois. I'll be darned. Huh. Well, that was worth logging on for. I will check into that further. I certainly will. I most certainly will. So, Paul Avery, who didn't just stick his nose in Zodiac and concoct this phony desktop poem to link Sherry Jo Bates to the Zodiac crimes, and then it turns out there's a link that get plugged in. But he drops Zodiac and writes the first book about Patty Hearst. Speaking of disinfo props, speaking of CIA chaos operations, speaking of your favorite Christopher Hitchens, yeah, so we'll touch on that. This is what tonight's premium episode is about, which I will, you know what? I've kept you guys up long enough. I've kept myself up long enough. So as soon as I get off the air, I will release that on the two websites there, the YouTube members only. Get plugged in. If you're on an iPhone, click the link to the video, how to get plugged in on an iPhone. Because I'm not you guys will not be getting a break between now and Christmas. It's worth it. And a lot of people have signed up already, so I'm going to keep putting up the episodes. So you might as well sign up. Plus, you need to catch up on all of those episodes on the phony kidnapping of the Limburg baby. That case got bigger and bigger and bigger. Nazis, rocket scientists, communists, Gaston Bullock means, Wheeze Pizza, all that stuff. All of that stuff came up in that case. The creation of AIDS, cancer vaccines. Watch those episodes, okay? I'll get those, and I'm continuing to upload those. I'll get them up as quick as I can. So you guys will have at least 2 premium episodes a week until between now and after Christmas. Make it worth your while. And then those of you, like the old premium website, you can't sign up for anymore, but those of you who have the old memberships, December 7th looks like your last day, and then, okay? But between December 7th and January 1st, I won't necessarily make you guys, we'll see. Trying to give you guys a break till after Christmas. I was going to take a break till after Christmas, but I got the hard part done until Channel throws me things like, what about William Avery Rockefeller? It's like, well, damn it, I don't know. So, what's the name of the bar, if you don't mind my asking? Or you could lie. To all the good people in Max's Bar, mwah, put that wherever you want it. Thanks for plugging in. To everyone else, let me get off here, and I will get tonight's premium episode released on both of those websites, and I will see you between now. Spotlight Gaming, okay. Good night, Spotlight. Mwah, I got the spotlight right on me. No, I love it. I love it. How could you not love this face under a spotlight? Just look at it. Look at this face. Look at that beard. Look at that nose. The guy who trained me, a retired captain of New York Police Department homicide detectives, told me, you got a fine big nose, dear kid. Follow it. Follow that nose. He talked like Archie Bunker. Used to be a laundromat and a video store. Like on Cheers? You mean like on Cheers? Oh, no, that was a laundromat and a tanning salon. Remember Spotlight Video? Outstanding. Outstanding. I'm appearing live at Spotlight Video. That's all I need to know. That's all you people need to know. So, for tonight, over the next couple of days, whatever, thank you very much. Stay safe, stay well. Please take care of each other. And please, please, in the name of Hump, will you please spay and neuter your cannibals? I'm Professor Thomas Henry Horan, asking you to please stay plugged in to the Stones Unturned podcast.
He reads everything.
I gotta get off here.